Hello everybody, I'm Technovoid, and with me I've got Hamsterwings. I swear to God I almost said Peanut Scratch again. Here with the wrap-up of the TDD Season 3. Of course, we're not quite done. We still got playoffs starting next week with the quarterfinals, but we're here just to cover everything, talk about rewards, talk about how people played in general, what we think some people can improve for next season. Of course, am in a completely great position to be telling everybody else how to play. But Hamsterwings here is your favorite analyst, and therefore... What? Yeah, I did get fourth. It's true. That's not very good, but it's also not very bad.
It's pretty good.
It is a solidly middle of the road. You, on the other hand, are very good. You're first in Timer Ball right now, which is very cool.
Hilarious that happened.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And I mean, hey, people come to me to talk about their teams pretty frequently, so I figure I have some potential advice to offer. So let's get straight into it, talking about Chimichangle first here. So Chimichangle with Spice Girls hitting third place in the Timer Ball League. Very good, considering the fact that he was running a theme team this season.
Yeah, getting third with a theme team is like very impressive.
That was I was definitely impressed to see that. I mean, Melodic is at the top of his kill list, but honestly, I feel like Cinderace put in a lot more work. I feel like Cinderace was definitely like the carry here.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it's interesting that his like first pick kind of ended up being super niche.
Yeah, it did end up being super niche, but it did win like 4-0.
No, it was very good.
It was very good. I think what's impressive here to me, first of all, Chimichangle's a great player. Really, all of his matches went great. The only people he lost to were you, which, I mean, it's you. And then the other one, he, week 6, kind of flubbed not knowing how his own strategy worked against Peanut Scratch. But other than that, he played quite well. In some matches, he took advantage of the other person's stupidity, like me. And in other matches, he just took advantage of his own game knowledge, whatever it was. I think it's really impressive how his theme team did cover so many bases. It was still missing some stuff, I feel like, around the board.
A little bit, yeah.
But, like, I mean, the double ghosts and stuff, Mega Bayonet somehow came to every single game.
Yeah.
Could have surprised me there. But great work from Chimichangle. Looking forward to seeing more from him in the playoffs. Looking forward to seeing him in Season 4. Gonna be great. Moving on to Flower. So, Flower, I'm gonna be honest, not as great play as I was expecting from Unibrow Jesus here this season.
I was just surprised by his unwillingness to use Giratina and Blastoise.
And Sylveon too. Like, all of them, he really just, when he was sending in teams, he was always bringing those C tiers and those B tiers, and that was good, but like, you got those S and A tiers, and I don't know how much of it is due to that, the fact that he got 6. I was probably expecting a little bit more from him, but he really just had an unwillingness to bring those Pokemon, and when he did bring those Pokemon, he wasn't using them very well.
He did play his B and C tiers pretty well.
Yeah, no. I mean, his Delmize, Aerodactyl, and Mienshao were quite good, but like, and his Primarina and Chandelure too, but like his Giratina tanking hits while Blastoise should be shell smashing. He played around Sylveon pretty well in the Eggplant game, but otherwise, it's, yeah. I mean, I feel like he sort of has, this season, the problem that Stormy has had in previous seasons, where she uses her lower tier Pokemon pretty well, but then when it comes to the higher tiers, she just doesn't know how to make them a win con.
That's fair, yeah.
I feel like Jesus has a similar problem where he realizes he has these strong Pokemon, but he doesn't know how to play around them. And that is something we'll talk about Stormy in a second, has gotten much better at, and so I am hoping that next season we see a little bit more Unibrow Jesus using those higher tier Pokemon more to his advantage and getting a higher position, because I definitely think he can. I think he has...
I think part of the problem is, or I guess it's not even a problem, it's that lower tier Pokemon are lower tier because they can do less. So it's easier to know like when to pull the trigger on what they do, when to use them, when they're a win con. It's more clear.
Yeah, it's more because they're more pigeonholed into a single role, whereas higher tier Pokemon, it's sort of like the sky's the limit for a lot of them. I don't know how to use them, so that's a fair comparison there. So hopefully we see some more work from Jesus. He has been learning at a very rapid pace. Speaking of learning at a rapid pace,
for someone who's new to Pokemon, he's still quite good.
Still quite good, yeah. Moving on to Stormy Sunshine with Team Mystery Dungeon. Honestly, I'm gonna say it right now, Stormy played the beginning of the season like trash. I mean, I don't want to... Okay, let me rephrase that. Not like trash, but there was even when she won against you via luck, her win against Dusk,
the give up factor was very, very high at the beginning.
It really, and I do mean this in the nicest possible way, Stormy. When you stopped bitching about losing and started like just trying throughout your games, your level of play improved like drastically. I mean, your last match against Dusk could have gone completely out of your favor and gone completely poorly, but you stayed in the game. You did what you held to your win cons, which is apparently Torkoal, which is pretty funny. And you really made it. And I really think Stormy, over the course of this season, really did improve perhaps more drastically than anybody else from beginning to end, because she was really thrown into the frying pan against these really hard opponents.
Yeah.
And she sort of, by trial of fire, had to figure out how to play. And she really didn't until, I would argue, about, like, who did she fight week 5?
Week 5?
Was that me? That was me. She fought me week 5. Yeah, I think probably that was around the time she started picking up what she was supposed to be doing. I still think she misused Pelipper a decent amount.
Yeah.
But sort of around that point and moving forward was sort of the point where I feel like Stormy started picking up on her team a bit. With you, of course, it was an unfortunate match that happened.
It was pretty funny, though.
It was funny, but it was unfortunate. Also, Stormy, as I was saying just before, she's picked up how to use her higher tiers, I think. Mega Lopunny, Jirachi, and Zapdos actually put in, like, good work this season.
Yeah. She used Jirachi, like, basically how it was supposed to be used. It's like glue that can pull any team together in the end.
Yeah, pretty much. And Mega Lopunny was a huge threat.
I mean, just having it on Team Preview is using it properly, honestly.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah. Zapdos did a little bit less work, but a lot of her team was centered around Zapdos with the double weathers and stuff. Mm-hmm. I think Salamence maybe didn't put in as much work as it could have, but I think that's also fine. Yeah. I mean, it got some Intimidates off. I don't think it got any Moxie boosts ever, but it's not that big of a deal. Shiftry, and honestly, Mawile. She used Mawile pretty well.
Yeah, Mawile was surprising.
Given how not good Mawile is, I think she did a good job.
It's a bad Pokemon.
It is. It's true. Its base stat total is like fucking 380 or something. So depending on how next season pans out, Stormy may or may not be in the Timer Ball League again, but I definitely think that having her in the Timer Ball League this season was good for her. Because I think it pushed her. I think it did push her to do better and not give up as much and not whine as much and, you know, start winning some games. So congratulations, Stormy. Ended up not being in last place. So congratulations on that. Moving on to you. I mean, what can we say?
I can say that Melmetal did a lot less than I thought it would. Like by a lot.
Yeah. No, your B tiers really pulled it out. I feel like this was the season of B tiers.
I was very scared towards the beginning of the season that Shaman was going to be the flop. But Shaman actually put in quite a bit of work towards the end.
I mean, when I don't know if I can properly analyze your teams, but like, I think you play very well consistently, and I think this season you sort of took a more sort of laissez-faire approach to winning, where you're just like, I want to use some gimmicky teams. I want to have fun with it, and honestly, you still won everything pretty much. Like, even though you did that, you still are arguably the strongest player in this league. You have been for like 3-ish seasons. I mean, it's close between like you and Meteor Bauer, but you're definitely really, really strong. And even when you do this,
the very first thought I had going into season 3 was I want to use more Pekko and Cramorant. Cramorant can't go one match. He was almost never a good pick, just against what my opponents had.
Yeah.
Morpeko, I'm in love with it. It did so much.
It's true. Morpeko did put in a lot of work. It was very fun.
I don't think before this I've ever respected Mega Heracross as a Pokemon. I love him now.
Yeah, Mega Heracross is great.
It came to very few matches, became my MVP.
That's true. Came to 4 out of 7. Yeah, I mean, with you, it's hard to really say anything other than we expect Hamsterwings to play well. He does play well. You weren't memeing quite nearly as hard as Meteor Bauer was last season. Like, he was memeing a lot harder than you.
Yeah, of
you
course.
still brought a good core. You still brought good mons. But even
No,
so,
I don't want to have a bad draft.
yeah. Even so, you put in some serious work, but I don't think there's much else we can say. Moving on to Diggory. Diggory, honestly, not doing as well as I expected.
He had a rough beginning.
Yeah, he had a pretty rough early draft. I think he was still learning how to use his team. I think he wanted a lot more out of Dragapult than it could realistically do.
Dragapult started showing what it can do towards the end.
Yeah, Dragon Dart Sweet 6.
Yeah.
That was pretty great.
I didn't even know about any of that smart targeting crap.
Really?
No, not at all.
Oh, I'd seen it and stuff when Gen 8 came out.
I literally only looked up how does Dragon Darts work when I was fighting him, which was the last week.
Oh, damn. But I told you about it in week 7.
No, I know.
Oh, okay.
Like, I knew what I was told, but I had never looked into it before.
I see. Yeah, Diggory definitely had a kind of a rough start. He still ended up playing pretty good towards the end, but
Once he realized how good Greedent was, it was
God.
never on the bench again.
geez, yeah, no, Greedent, shit, he had 2 wild Greedent sweeps. That was kind of nuts. I mean, Greedent proved itself as like, hey, watch out for this. Tornadus putting in a lot less work this season than it did last season.
Yeah, a lot of times he ended up running Trick Room.
Yeah, I was thinking, Tornadus is going to be his Sigilif, but we'll see if he takes it again next season. I'd be interested to see that because it definitely kind of flopped a little bit more this time.
I
Celesteela,
think it still did a lot of what it wanted to do.
yeah, it was just not as
didn't
useful.
fit the team every single time.
Yeah,
Like last season, it fit the team every single time.
yeah, that's true. Last season he had a lot scarier of a team.
Well, last season he had a lot scarier of a team until, like, kind of the very end, where I just kind of revealed, like, hey, you auto lose to Trick Room.
Yeah. No, this season he actually.
This season, at the cost of some like raw power, his team's a lot more balanced.
Yeah. Ended up not necessarily working in his favor every week. What are you thinking for Diggory next season? What do you think the I don't know where I'm going with this.
I don't know. I think he's still a very good player.
Well, no, obviously he's a very good player. Do you think this is more in line with how we'll be seeing his play, or do you think more like last season is what we'd be expecting to see more of? Obviously, with the season 3,
I think this.
yeah, I think being in Timer Ball is just naturally a lot tougher
Yeah.
because you don't have off weeks. You don't have weeks where you can think less about the team. You can just sort of go into it. Like every week is a goddamn nightmare.
This season drained my energy so much more than the previous
It's
two.
so stressful because last season it's like you have like 1 or 2 hard matches and then you have 1 or 2 where it's like, okay, I can worry less about this. It doesn't matter super much. And then, but this season, every single match is like, I need to build fucking perfectly or I'm done for.
Yeah.
And that was really, really rough. So that was fun. Moving on. Who's next? Am I next? I'm next. Wow, look at me. I proved myself this season as a pretty good Pokemon player.
I agree. I think you've done that every season, but you don't ever believe me. So.
Well, thank you. I mean, up until now, I've sort of been memeing. For me, I feel this season for me was sort of the taking the training weights off and like flexing. My Pokemon overall have the lowest, like, I might have the lowest kill total, I'm not sure about that, but my kills are so spread out that, like, Kyurem Black, who is my MVP, has, like, the fewest
one
kills.
more kill than the second best or something.
Well, it has one more kill. I mean, fucking, like, Toxapex is, like, almost the same number of kills as Kyurem Black. No, but I'm saying, like Kyurem Black is, like, at the bottom of the MVP chart. I was honestly expecting it to put in more work. Maybe that's on me for expecting too much of it.
I don't think you had the best support for Kyurem.
Yeah.
Like, you wanted a specific draft, you didn't have any redirection. Kyurem plus redirection is, like, a horrifying combo.
Yeah. I was also hoping to do more with Gardevoir.
You were a lot more spec'd into Trick Room than you were spec'd into Kyurem, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with my team overall. I want to say I loved my B tiers this season.
Too Scrafty.
Scrafty and Toxapex, I'm such a big fan of right now. And Sigilif, obviously. I really fell in love with Copperajah this season.
Dude, Copperajah is such a fun Pokemon.
I'm really happy with it. Lurantis, I'm happy with it. I wish I was able to do more with it, but kind of like with Cramorant, it was almost never a better choice.
It just wasn't optimal.
Yeah, it was never optimal, and that's the thing with Timer Ball. You always have to play optimally.
Yeah.
Drifblim basically did what I was expecting it to do. Vikavolt, I kind of wanted to see more for. I think I fucked up Vikavolt pretty hard.
Vikavolt's pretty niche.
Yeah.
It's kind of in the same boat as like Lurantis and Cramorant.
Yeah. I don't think it worked too well, but I mean, pretty good showing from me. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm ready to go into season 4, fucking arms swinging back with my memes.
I need a break.
Oh, I need a huge. No, don't get me wrong. Like, I need a huge, like, months and months of break. Crown Tundra, please delay. Please delay. No, but when we do get into it, I'm ready. This season, I wanted to prove myself using a team I thought was legitimately good instead of memes. Next season, I'm back with my memes. I'm gonna fuck everybody up with my memes. I'm ready for it. Moving into egg playing. Wow. I was straight impressed.
Me too.
Egg has...
Didn't he start his draft just picking Pokemon that he recognized?
Yeah, well, he started his draft... I mean, so Egg playing, another player who went for a theme team this season, sort of Knights of the Round Table, King Arthurian legend. So he went for a theme team. He was going with Pokemon that he recognized and Pokemon that fit his theme. And then as he got to his C tiers, that panned out into coverage. Regigigas was going to come, but like Druddigon, Pangoro,
Druddigon didn't come very often.
Druddigon.
Neither did Pangoro.
Pangoro came a decent bit. I mean, this is another case of, B tiers. This really was the season of B tiers.
Every season is the season of B tiers.
That's true. That's fair. Because there's a lot of them, and they're pretty good.
Yeah.
All things considered, Egg maybe would have not actually gotten into playoffs had Ko not DQ'd the first week. I'm not sure how that would have panned out. But otherwise, because he ended up getting 2 6-0s rather than the one that everybody else got from Wobble. But he, regardless of that, he played quite well. I don't think he necessarily improved much over the season. Would you disagree with me? I think he just kind of started strong and just kind of continued that strength throughout. I don't think he got much worse or better throughout.
I think he made, key minor improvements.
Mm-hmm. Such as? Not to put you on the spot, I'm just interested.
I mean, I feel like switching.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Because a lot of people, especially in doubles, are like, I'm just not going to switch because I lose so much momentum. I'm not attacking for a whole turn.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, Egg did do a lot more switching later on. Some of the switches were not great.
You always got to mess up before you actually find the balance.
That's true. I think Egg now has perhaps a bigger appreciation for how frail Mega Gallade is.
Mega Gallade is not tanky.
Yeah, because Mega Gallade was doing a lot of switching into moves, especially early on. Yeah, and dying, because it does that. I think Egg is sort of learning the Glass Cannon build.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of his Pokemon that did well were Pokemon that were naturally
almost
tanky.
None of his Pokemon are Glass Cannons. You got Cresselia, which is a tank, Aegislash, which is a tank, Keldeo, which can take a lot of hits, Shaman base 100.
Yeah, and then Zoroark and Mega Gallade.
Zoroark and Gallade are Glass Cannons. Mr. Rhyme kind of isn't, despite its typing.
Yeah.
Pangoro is not, Druddigon, Regigigas not.
Yeah. Yeah, so really Zoroark and Mega Gallade, and Zoroark ended up putting in some work, so... I think learning sort of the archetypes of some Pokemon is maybe the biggest thing Egg got out of this season, but really just played quite well, and I look forward to seeing what he does in the future. We're going to skip over Wobble because he played for 1 week and DQ'd that week and never came back, and we're not talking about him. Feanor.
Weird Rain Team.
Weird Rain Team. Out. Yeah, pretty middle of the pack, I think, in terms of Quick Ball.
I think he played pretty well though.
Nothing he did I would say super wowed me, but it was consistently solid play throughout.
He didn't go for anything crazy, but he was pretty consistent.
Darmanitan was consistently scary.
Yeah.
Kyurem White, I'm starting to think... so this is kind of the second season that Kyurem White's kind of not put in that much work. I mean, last season it was still, I think, Peanut Scratch's MVP, and Peanut Scratch has a history with those types of Pokemon.
I mean, this is why I say the Pokemon's not broken.
Yeah, right, exactly. But I'm just wondering, what is it that people are missing? Because I feel like this is the second season, and like me with Kyurem Black, now 2 seasons with Kyurem White. What are we missing with these really high-powered Pokemon?
I don't think anything's missing. I think
they're just not as good as people think.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Like, they are S tiers, no doubt about that, but
they are scary.
An S tier can't 1v6.
That's true. They can't.
Doesn't happen. Your opponent has an S tier too.
Yeah. I think a lot of the problems that came around this season with S tiers getting so low is that people were assuming they're S tier, they can 1v6, but they definitely cannot. Corviknight, I want to make a shout out to Corviknight for being as fucking annoying as I predicted.
Yeah, basically.
Looking forward to seeing Feanor come back.
The thing about Kyurem White is that it's a breaker. That's all it is. It can't do more than break. It can't sweep. It just can't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does break though. It does break pretty well.
It breaks really good.
Yeah, I think consistent showings from Feanor. I do want to see what he would do with a more off-the-wall team, because this was already sort of off the wall, but it was still rain for the most part. I think there was maybe 1 week he didn't run Politoed, or maybe, yeah, I think it was 1 week he didn't run Politoed. So I'd like to see what he would do. I'm interested to see Feanor in more perilous positions than he was in, and maybe that sounds mean, but it's not intended as such. It's more so... Yeah, what about it?
Tindra's so strong.
It really is, but only in rain.
Yep.
Alright, moving on, we got Meteor Bower. Good lord.
What a great showing.
Yeah, it's pretty good showing. So Steven, I think maybe, no, I'm wrong. Chimichangle also did this. A lot of people opted to not take an S tier this season.
Yeah.
I think that worked out for Meteor Bower. I think having his AAA...
I don't know if there would have been a better S tier to fill that slot.
Yeah, I think Rotomosh, Victini, and Mega Mawile was, I mean, a really powerful core that came every single match, and with good reason. They really cover each other quite well.
Yeah.
Hoopa U also very scary.
Yeah.
Comfy, honestly, hidden MVP on this one.
Comfy did quite good.
Comfy,
it didn't come often, but it did good things.
Yeah, I mean, it had some very good speed control. Triage is such an interesting ability, especially in doubles. Mm-hmm. Is very, very good. Because you expect that the speeds / priority of stuff, and it's like, okay, I move before this dies, blah blah blah, and you like calculate that out, and then Comfy is just out here like, hey, no, that's not how this works. No one's dead, you're dead. God. Meteor Bower ended up coming in second, just barely because of that last loss against Chimichangle in the last match. But
that last train wreck of a match.
Not much else to say about Jaws other than he's always going to be a threat. Always watch out for him. Moving into Sun Samurats.
Yo.
I'm straight up. I think OJ played the worst of anybody this season.
Ooh.
I mean, I'm not saying there's not room for improvement, but I do think... I mean,
he knows. He's on top of it. He's like, next season's going to go so much better.
Okay, alright. That's cool.
That's what he's been saying.
Yeah. I mean, okay. What do you think was the disconnect here? Because I think... I mean, he didn't win any matches at all.
He didn't use his team the way I ever expected him to.
What were you expecting?
I was expecting things like Superior can just auto boost itself and it's like pretty fast. Suicune can set up like Calm Minds, become unkillable. Altaria can Dragon Dance. Crocodile can Dragon Dance.
Yeah, Mega Altaria never Dragon Danced.
Crobat can has crazy support. Tailwind, the fastest Tailwind around. He's got Super Fangs to break some setup. Yuxi used usually like a suicide lead, which doesn't work super well in doubles, but like all of those setup Pokemon, and then you have Mew.
Yeah, then Mew ended up being his setup.
Yeah, and like Mew pairs so well when you can't call which Pokemon is going to set up. Because it can transform into anything.
That's true. Yeah, it really. Yeah, no, the fact.
Two Suicunes. Imagine how mad your opponent's gonna be.
that's the entire battle right there. Is just pissing off your opponent with fucking 2 calm-minded Suicunes. I mean, you're actually very right, because like Serperior and Suicune and Mega Altaria and Crocodile, they all have so much sweet potential, and you can just get a second one.
Yep.
And that's really, really powerful. And Mew kind of was just a stealth rocker this season, for the most part.
Stealth rocker and coverage.
And coverage too. Yeah, very, very strange. Towards the end, I mean, in the very last week, we saw that Calm Mind Suicune, but like no rest.
Yeah. Rest is pretty big on
definitely some odd choices from OJ. And I know
boosting Superior while also getting off a Tailwind with Suicune, like Suicune you expected to just sit there and like Calm Mind, and it starts getting up Tailwinds, and it's like, oh, I need to kill it now. Like I actually have to kill Suicune.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I know
in a position where you have to kill Suicune before something else.
Sure. Yeah, and I'm not trying to like shit on OJ here. I think
it's all a learning experience.
Yeah, right, that's what I'm saying. It's all a learning experience. I know he's complained that he thinks he drafted poorly. I would disagree. I think his draft here is quite solid. He just never figured out how to use the team.
I think it definitely has like some gaps. I think you need like more defense than you have. But with like honestly, your first 4 Pokemon, Mew, Superior, Suicune, and Mega Altaria, I think that's like horrifying to prep against.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Especially like if you run a Mega Altaria with like Dragon Dance and Cotton Guard, and then transform the Mew into it, like what do you even do?
That's pretty awesome. He did use Cotton Guard once, but then it like immediately switched. I don't remember why.
Like, let me just paint this scenario in your head. Mega Altaria and Yuxi lead. Altaria Cotton Guards so that it can tank hits. Yuxi instantly mementos the special attacker. Now what? Now Mew comes in for free. The battle's over.
That's true, yeah, because, like, you gotta switch out that special attacker, and goddamn, you just have a fucking Dragon Dance transform. Oh my lord. Fuck. That's pretty scary, yeah,
And you could run low-speed Mew because the speed wouldn't matter, to let Altaria get the Dragon Dance first, then transform, copy the speed, now the Mew's fast.
Jeez, yeah. I think if there's one piece of advice, and this is really, I'm just trying to offer advice for playing better in the future.
Also, you have a Mega with an item at that point.
That's true. If there's one piece of advice I think I could give, I think it's after you have your full draft, just practice with that team, because I know OJ is friends with Lazadin. Lazadin was helping him out. Eggpling, I think. Jesus. All those people, just match with them after you fought them and just sort of learn this team better so that you can use it better in the matches that count.
Most teams have, like, even after you've drafted all of them, even after you've thought of your ideas for them, you can look at your team and be like, I didn't know my team could do this.
Yeah, no, it's for sure.
Like, it's happened to me plenty of times.
Me too, yeah. There was a lot of stuff, especially with abilities. Abilities are always super fun for me to play with. Moving on to Garlic with a very scary team.
The most threatening first 3 Pokemon ever.
Pretty threatening. Komao ended up not doing as much as anticipated.
Even still, just having it exist.
Yeah, for sure.
It does part of its job just by existing.
Yeah. Ko, honestly, I mean, I know Lazadin played very well, but Ko might be my favorite player of this season from Quickball, if only for the fact that he led with such a poor Week 1 showing. Not that he played poorly in Week 1, but having the misunderstanding of the rules, bringing the Mega Metagross, getting that 06, and coming...
That was still, like, the whole showdown thing, because, like, custom battles.
Sure. No, I'm not necessarily blaming Ko for it. I'm just saying it's really sucked that happened. And honestly, Ko was maybe my favorite person in terms of accepting that. Like, every other person I've had run into the rules with, it's always like, that fucking sucks. Ko was just like, dude, it's a game, I'm cool with it, and I love that attitude. But he came back from that, and then he brought it all back. He fucking played so hard and just destroyed everybody and got second place, which was nuts. He would have had first, probably, or maybe second to Lazadon, I don't know, but he might have had first had he won that match in week 1.
It's possible.
I mean, just super scary team. That Metagross, the Grimmsnarl, fucking Roten Mo, dude. Is nuts.
Gastrodon doing a lot.
Yeah, Gastrodon just fucking sitting there, dude.
I hate Clefairy.
But no, Ko played really, really great. I want to see what he does against Chimichangle next week. That's gonna be interesting. I'm really excited to see some of these timer and quick ball fights, because it's just completely two different worlds, two completely different skill levels. We'll see how it pans out. Moving on to Straterra, another big favorite of mine this season, Post Structure. I was rooting for Post Structure, not gonna lie, I've said it before, I'll say it again.
I think in our Season 1 breakdown at the very beginning, I said Post had one of the weakest drafts.
Yeah, and I wouldn't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I think
he played his draft very well. I think he played his games well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of his Pokemon don't synergize.
Yeah, I agree with that. Post Structure was going for a lot of synergy here with the speed control. He wanted the fast, he wanted the slow. His whole picture is literally like a yin-yang of his fastest Pokemon to his slowest Pokemon, and it goes in both directions and stuff. But the thing is, when it comes to your fast Pokemon, you've got Mega Lucario and Espeon, and then when you've got your slow Pokemon, you've got Stack Attacka.
Yeah, and that's it.
And Stack Attacka really did not work on this team as anything other than a support, I feel like, just because nothing else on the team synergized with going that slow. Volcanion can do it, Weezing can do it, but
they have to sacrifice for it.
But they have to sacrifice for it, and Espeon and Lucario, and I mean even fucking Starmie, which is better than I thought it would be.
No, dude, Starmie's so good. Starmie's a good Pokemon. It just is.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think he suffered from a really hard draft. Volcanion did put in a lot of work. I think part of it,
for how honestly not good his draft was, he played so well.
He really did. He really worked around his draft. He and I maybe spent the most time talking about teams, because he would come to me with a team, I'd give him my advice, and then he would go back and forth with me for hours. And I'm not complaining. I enjoy it. It's great.
I mean, the back and forth just proves that they understand their team.
They understand their team, and they're really engaged. They're really okay, so I see what you're saying, but what about this? What about this? He's thinking about the different strategies, and I think he recognized. I
had a similar experience to that with Lazadon when we get to him.
Okay, yeah, and I mean, I think Post will be doing very good when his team is better, but I agree with you. I think maybe part of the issue with this team, Post does have most of his experience from, I think, the Let's Go games competitively, and
gotcha.
maybe some of Gen 8, which is, I feel like, why we're seeing some strange picks here, the first pick Togekiss.
Which, I mean, understandable. Togekiss is actually the #1 rated Pokemon in VGC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just, not too much synergy. I think he wanted to go.
It was at the time that the draft started. I don't know if it is anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, he wanted to go for this sort of roundabout synergy, when the answer is more so, you gotta get, it's you know, Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff. You need more compact synergies within your team, rather than this whole yin-yang of bullshit that doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of easy to think about Pokemon in pairs.
Yeah, that's true, especially in doubles.
Mm-hmm. It's what helps what. It's
I would argue the best way to think about Pokemon, and correct me on this, I would say the best way to think about Pokemon is actually for doubles, is in thirds. You have a main Pokemon, a support Pokemon, and a switch Pokemon.
Yeah, I think that's decent.
I think having that
I think
combination.
it's like a little bare bones. You can go a lot deeper than that, but I think that's a healthy way to look at it.
Yeah, where basically it's like you have something that you expect to be getting kills, something you expect to be able to switch in, and something that can assist. I think that's a useful combination to think about it. But really great work from Post, honestly. Still my favorite guy from this season. Can't wait to see more from him. Peanut, oh my god.
Another guy who probably had one of the worst drafts.
Yeah, this one was pretty rough too. I love Peanut so much. Sometimes I question.
He's a wonderful guy. This is the second time he's like drafted like really weird. At least this team is not mono weak to dark.
That's true. I had one of those.
That's true.
Yeah. No. I mean, going beyond his draft. No, actually, why should we go beyond his draft? We can just talk about his draft. You're right. It's strange. He ended up speed. What is it called when you like pick Pokemon that's like the fastest Pokemon in the league and
Speed creeping.
Speed creeping. He speed creeped himself.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna take Zeraora because it's so fast, faster than Dragapult, baby. Now I got him.
Now I'm getting Salamence.
Soon after,
now
he's like, now I got Mega Alakazam. Man, we're even faster than Zeraora. It's like, why do you need to outspeed Zeraora?
Yeah. That was a little strange. He had another thing that he was going for where he wanted sort of the Sun Rain that Stormy was sort of also going for independently, but he wanted to do it with Prankster Whimsicott rather than setters.
Ninetales.
Yes, rather than actual setters.
Ninetales was not drafted this season. I think it would have made a very good addition to your team.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think that worked out great for him. I don't know if he ever set up Rain.
No.
I can't think of a single time.
I cannot think of a time that he set up Rain.
Yeah. Also, of course, pretty bad decision from him drafting Mega Zam and Mega Salamence together. I think either one would have been great. Alakazam came first. I think it would have been a good pick, and then Salamence was sort of weird. When you have a Pokemon that goes from B tier to A tier when it megas, and a Pokemon that goes from B tier to S tier when it megas, Alakazam's just going to fall through the cracks.
Yeah, Mega Salamence was just always the right pick.
Yeah, it's kind of like the thing with Lurantis or Cramorant.
It's kind of the issue with drafting an S tier Mega. There's no reason you would ever draft a lower tier Mega.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because S tier Megas are so vital to victory.
It's funny, we keep saying that, and then we look like one down, and it's the exact opposite.
Well, okay, that's fair. But, well, it's fair, but it's also, well, we'll get there. It's fine. Peanut, he came in 6th, but honestly, so much of Timer Ball was so close.
Yeah.
Like, it really did come down to the last week. 3 of us had the exact same score, and it came down to differential.
I'm pretty sure every single person's position changed in the last week.
That's very possible. that's quite probable, actually. So it was very close. I think, as with previous seasons, Peanut has a weird way of drafting that doesn't always work for him. Yeah. I don't know how he's going to cover that.
He kind of has an idea at the start, and then he drops the idea, but he's stuck with the Pokemon that he had.
That's an interesting way of putting it. Drapia fucking came in first for him.
Yeah,
and it took over one match. It took over the Chimichangle match. That's the only one.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of what happened with Torkoal. Moving on to, if anybody. I don't know who's playing next season, but if anybody is moving from Quick to Timer, it is Lazadin.
Yeah.
Lazadin just really
Screensaver.
Huh? Screensaver. You make a good point here about Mega Diancie and Mega Steelix.
Yeah, Lazadin was the person I probably had the most back and forth with about discussing teams. Every week that he did talk to me, we talked for a pretty long time, and I think I always made changes, and I think he always agreed with explanation or disagreed with explanation, which is always just fun to talk about.
Sure.
I think it's very surprising how infrequently Diancie mega'd and how well it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Even regular Diancie is still an A tier.
Yeah.
An A tier without an item is it's not that great. Plus, like, the sweeping potential, the power, and the speed behind Mega DNC, it's just insane.
I mean, yeah, last season we had Magellanico Loud drafting Mega DNC, and that thing just completely carried his team, like 100%.
Yeah.
I don't know if Lazadin would have had as much success had he Mega DNC all the time, though. I think he was very smart in Megaing Steelix is the games that it was there. I think bringing both of them, I've said this before, I'll say it again, was very interesting and good in that they're two Pokemon that can do pretty well without items, and it leaves you guessing in matches, whereas someone like Peanut Scratch, you're really not guessing, even if you see both of them.
Yeah, it's just, Alakazam is so good with an item.
Yeah.
And, like, Salamence is like, without an item.
Without an item, yeah. That's very accurate.
But, like, having an Alakazam with a Sash, having an Alakazam with Magic Guard Life Orb, it's so strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Cradily, you gotta mention Cradily. I mean, you gotta mention Dracozolt. Dracozolt was one of those Pokemon along with Cinderace. The basically, like, maybe
Dracozolt was not respected enough.
It's true. It's true. Having access to the hidden abilities for those Pokemon was very nice. Dracozolt still did hustle a couple times.
Dracozolt made more use out of it than Cinderace did, which is impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, considering Libero is objectively used more than Sandrush would be. Lazadin, I think the most impressive thing about this team to me is how well he made a Sand team work.
Yeah, I don't think Sand is, like, the most wonderful archetype.
No. I mean, only Hail is worse, I would argue, of the four weathers.
Yeah, I think Sun has gotten way better in Gen 8. I think Hail and Sand both got better in Gen 8, but they still pale in comparison to Rain.
Yeah, yeah. Would you say Rain is stronger or weaker than Sun? I would always say Rain is stronger than Sun.
Man, I don't know. In Gen 8's restricted meta, I think Sun is the best. Okay. But I think overall, Rain is still the best.
Rain is still probably the best. And Hail's, I mean, hot garbage.
Hail is just bad.
Hail is bad. Sand is, like, not that good. I honestly, I wish I'd saw more from Palossand.
Yeah.
I think Palossand could have put in work, but I understand why it didn't. I mean, again, another thing. Lurantis, Cramorant, Mega Alakazam. There's just better choices a lot of the time. And I get that.
I mean,
but
it's a symptom of having 10 Pokemon.
Yeah, it really is. Bronzong doing great work this season. Dracozolt, you're really right, not getting respected enough. I think people are going to respect the fossils a little bit more next time, especially the Draco ones. The other ones are not that good. I can't believe
Dracovish is being suspected.
That's and honestly, he probably won best profile picture. All things considered.
Imagine how much harder his weeks would have been had he taken Dracovish instead and had to play around his own stupid Storm Drain.
That would have been hilarious. No, I mean, I think I recommended Dracozolt. I think I recommended that, and I'm proud of that. Fuck, what was I thinking? I mean, he's either going to be fighting in semis, either Eggpling again for that rematch, which was very close, or Meteor Bower. And regardless of which way that goes, that is going to be an interesting semis match.
Yeah, that's going to be intense.
I want to see how far Lazadin gets, mainly because, I mean, I'm scouting him out for Timer Ball, like, pretty damn hard right now. So I think he can get top 3, like, absolutely, no problem.
I think so too.
I think it's very, very likely. Although if he's fighting Meteor Bower in semis, that's gonna be an uphill battle.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. Moving on to the last team, Dusk. Dusk putting in a lot less work this season than he usually does.
He hard committed to the thing he wanted to do, which was very easy to switch out Intimidators.
Yeah.
And with Aurora Veil.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that it becomes really predictable.
I think it works in concept, and I think it works on ladder, but when the other 6 people you're playing against have weeks to prepare,
when I'm
what you're
being
doing.
told that I'm fighting Incineroar, that I'm fighting Mega Mane, that I'm fighting Ninetales, I know what I'm getting into, and I know what I need to prep for.
And not even when you're seeing those Pokemon, when you're seeing how he plays every week, in and out. I mean, and I think his win-loss record is really showing of this. He won his week 1. He lost week 2 because Peanut played really well with Zeraora, and then he won week 3 against me. And then after that, it was just straight losses for him, because at that point, and even before that, everybody knew what he was doing, and he never really switched it up. He sort of switched it up a little bit, but never very much. Never enough to matter.
I mean, I think he would have benefited from, like, more Pokemon that could take over the game once his opponent was crippled.
Mm-hmm.
I think having just Gyarados was not enough.
Yeah. Mega Man Ectric, honestly, putting in some decent work, which is nice. Oh, I almost dropped my phone. But I think, this team would have worked a lot better on something like Ladder in previous seasons. Dusk has had a very good team. He ran Rain in Season 1. I feel
like even just if his team had swapped out Golisopod for, like, a super strong Glass Cannon C tier, I think this team could have, like, completely switched it up.
That's true, potentially. But yeah, I think a lot of it came down to the hard commit to something that was...
It locked him in. It locked him in.
Yeah, which is not something you want in a draft league.
Yeah, because, I mean, I think we talk about it, like, a fair amount, that, like, versatility is power.
Versatility is absolutely power in a draft league, absolutely. So that's going to be everybody, so let's get into the awards. So, for those of you who don't know, why the fuck don't you know? Why are you watching this video? Can you get your cursor off the awards? It's all red.
Huh?
Your cursor's highlighting the awards button. There you go. Thank you. Alright. So, the awards, for those of you who don't know, fucking educate yourself. Awards are, we basically, Hamsterwings and I chose Pokemon from every team, or most teams, where we thought it was relevant. So let's just go over them. This was up to you guys. You guys chose who number 1, number 2, number 3 were. And the winners for the awards this season, we got the Carry bringing home the gold. So this is basically the Pokemon that, carried a team, brought a team together, didn't necessarily get kills, usually got kills, but didn't necessarily get kills, but was basically the glue. From the Pokemon that we nominated, who do you think the strongest carries were?
Mega Metagross, for sure.
Yeah.
Honestly, Greedent.
Greedent was a big one. I want to give shout out to Mega Lopunny, even though it didn't do that great. Again, seeing it on Team Preview was pretty hard. Something like Volcanion, potentially. So those are pretty good, but the winner ended up being, to nobody's surprise, Mega Metagross. Congratulations, Ko and Mega Metagross. Moving on, the Executioner did some good murder. This one should be self-explanatory. Got kills. Scary. You saw it in Team Preview. You're like, fuck. You see it come out. You're like, fuck. From this match, I think really most of these fit the bill pretty damn hard. Mega Lopunny, Mega Heracross, Greedent, Darmanitan, Metagross.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about this one?
Definitely. Do we even need to say how we're feeling? We can just talk about who won. Yeah,
it's true. Mega Metagross. Why'd he win?
Because he killed things.
It's true. He did kill things.
He did what he does every season, to just kill things.
Yeah. I think Greedent could have been another big one here just because it ended up, like, a few weeks in, sort of inspiring fear. It didn't start off inspiring fear for some less big-brained people. And then it ended up getting to that point.
Like, mad at me for putting Greedent in B tier at first?
Why? I don't know.
I feel like that was a thing that happened. Because I remember we were mad at each other that Greedent had to be B tier.
Yeah, I remember us yelling, not at each other, but just yelling at the sky. Why is this
yelling
fat
at Game
fuck?
Freak.
Yeah, just yelling at Game Freak. Next up, the Bastion. The Bastion, I think both seasons so far, has gone to Ferrothorn, which should give you a general idea of what the Bastion is. It doesn't die. It sits there. It fucking wins games by being an asshole. We're talking shit like Suicune, Ferrothorn, Corviknight, fucking Toxapex, Cresselia, that kind of stuff. This season, it's going to Goodra, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah, Goodra did damage.
Yeah, Goodra did do damage, and Goodra ended up being a defensive fucking switch-in when you were expecting it to be a carry, and then it ended up being...
When I was expecting it to be a defensive switch-in, it carried.
Pretty strange. Honestly, I think Corviknight could have very well won this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily dispute Gudra. It kind of did just come in and, like, tank ice-type attacks.
It's true. It's true. I mean, you cannot...
I switched it in on ice-type attacks as a counter.
That's crazy.
Against Steven.
That's crazy. And I feel like you really can't understate how powerful Sap Sipper is as a switch-in.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Just having a random immunity.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to the Comrade, works well with others, kind of like the carry. This one, keeps the team together. It's basically the Pokemon that can be used on a wide variety of teams, no matter what you're running. This Pokemon fits on the team. It comes pretty often usually, and it has enough versatility and enough sets that no matter what you're doing, it works. Yep. This one went to Grimmsnarl, not necessarily because it was super versatile, but it did set up those screens.
It is spec'd into support.
It is spec'd into support pretty hard. How much does Grimmsnarl succeed outside of that supportive moveset?
In a scenario where Gmax is banned, not that much.
That's okay. Fair enough.
I mean, it's good at what it does, which is like Prankster, but there are a bunch of sets that Ko never used, like a popular one is Sleep Talk Bulk Up.
Oh boy.
So you start bulking up, and then you rest when you get low because you Prankster, you go first, and then your rest talks are Prankstered. So if you pull an attack, it's Prankstered, it goes first. If you pull bulk up, you bulk up again. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just very annoying.
For sure. I want to give. I mean, this seems obvious. I want to give a special shout out to Politoed just for being Politoed.
Yeah.
Politoed had a good chance here. Moving on to the Cleric. This is a very small category because it's pretty niche. These are Pokemon that are offering buffs, heals, basically positive effects for their team. Gudra was doing that with Life Dew, stuff like Tailwind, Life Dew, heals, screens, that kind of stuff. This one went to Clefairy, and Ko is sweeping these awards right now.
Everything except the Bastion he has so far.
He's sweeping these awards. Clefairy makes a lot of sense. I mean, Friend Guard. What?
It's sat.
Yeah. Fucking, it sure does have Friend Guard, Life Dew, and Screens. Is real good. Moving on to the Disruptor. This is the Pokemon that is... You scream. This is the thing that Hamsterwings was talking about earlier. You get that fucking calm-minded Suicune. Now you've got a second calm-minded Suicune. And G.I. Joe fucking tilting your opponent is 3/4 of the battle. Now they're gonna make bad decisions for the rest of the game, and that is way more accurate. For those of you new to the draft league, so much of winning a game is just pissing the other person off into making bad calls. That's pretty crazy. True. This ended up going to Cradily. This isn't much of a surprise. It's kind of a surprise how many people ended up falling for Storm Drain more than once in a single game.
That is true.
I was expecting this to maybe affect 1 or 2 matches, but the fact that it was consistently eating up Water-type moves with Storm Drain and everyone was falling for it was impressive. But also just goes to show that Cradily was such a valuable pick for a sand team.
Yeah.
Having that huge weakness to water and just having Cradily just eat that shit up was so good. Other big ones here, I mean, Mega Bayonet, kind of the only thing it did was disrupt. I think Runerigus is important to note. I want to make point of Scrafty. He didn't even come close to winning. None of my Pokemon came close to winning. But Scrafty disrupted pretty well. Wild Card, this is a Pokemon that you see it in the team preview, and you don't know what it's gonna do.
Yep.
Usually this is gonna be because it has a wide variety of sets that it can use. The winner, however, was Zoroark, and Zoroark was actually not doing that. He was using a lot of the same sets. I mean, Zoroark's a glass cannon. What it really comes down to with Zoroark is you don't know who it's pretending to be.
Yeah, it's not about, like, prep. It's about, like, figuring out that it's Zoroark.
Yeah. No, Wildcard is much less so prep and much more so once you're already in the match, you don't know what this thing is doing. Mew is always a really good Pokemon for Wildcard, except for this season.
You just never know what it's going to do. It gets access to every move.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Other big ones here, I mean, Jirachi was one. Silvally, you're having the idea of you never know what type it's going to be. But honestly, I mean, Zoroark deserved this, like, pretty hard.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not sure there's that many other Pokemon here that really deserved it. Secret Weapon, this is the one, it comes not very often. When it does come, it usually is winning. There's not much more to say than that. It's basically, shit, this Pokemon's here, and this one ended up going to Tentacruel. I think in one of the weeks I said, give Tentacruel Pocket Pick.
Yeah, Secret Weapon.
Secret Weapon, and it ended up happening, and that's not surprising. Tentacruel is a C tier. It's not like an amazing C tier, but Ko played around it so well.
I think probably the other Pokemon deserving of this win would be Hatterene.
Hatterene really not even necessarily carrying the matches it's in, but offering so much switch pressure.
Yeah.
In the matches it's in. Other ones I want to make note of, just because they're C tiers and I love them, Morpeko and Caparaja. I know I'm biased, I know that's mine and yours, but I really think Morpeko and Caparaja were really, really great. When they were coming, they were doing so much work.
Dude, Morpeko was so fun.
Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, this one makes sense. Tentacruel, this was a pretty close one, but Tentacruel won by about 1 point, I think. I didn't vote, because I'm here to break ties, but none of these were ties, so I didn't get to do anything. But it's fine. Tentacruel makes a lot of sense. Moving on to the Showstopper. Showstopper is just a Pokemon that just is fun to watch. It's fun to watch play. You're here for it. Unless, of course, you're this season, in which case it's Greedent.
I mean, he literally stopped the show.
He's like, stop everybody. Here's me. My name's Greedent. This is the end of the game. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
I mean, Green makes a lot of sense. I mean, as unfun as it was for those people playing,
it was hilarious to watch.
We got a fucking kick out of yelling at those matches, and I'm sure people got a kick out of watching us yell about those matches.
Maybe.
So that was pretty good. Not usually what I would expect the Showstopper to be, but it was that.
It takes all kinds.
Takes all kinds. Greedent, honestly, Greedent did deserve something.
Mm-hmm. And now we have the Miracle.
The
which
Miracle,
is the low-tier hero.
Low-tier hero Pokemon in the C tier. It's always going to be a C tier Pokemon that did very well. I think there were
or a B tier. I think it can be a B tier.
Can it? We've never nominated a B tier for it before.
Have we not?
Nope, never.
I feel like we have nominated a B tier before.
Maybe, and I'm dumb. I don't think so. Winner was Cradily. Not surprising. I think there were a lot of really solid picks for this, though.
Yeah.
Delmise was a big carry. Stormy using Mawile super well. Morpeko being used super well. Caparaja out here, I'm talking about it. Regigigas being fucking Regigigas, what? Kingdra, wildly powerful. Gligar proving fucking its worth so hard. Tentacruel again. Drapion, but of course, I mean, Cradily, it disrupted so well, it was so vital to Lazatin's team that it makes sense that it's there. And finally, the Flop. A Flop feels kind of like Flaming sometimes, but it's all in good fun.
I mean, if the Miracle is the low-tier hero, the Flop is the high-tier zero.
It's the high-tier zero. It's the Flame. It's the what the fuck did you do with this Pokemon? All of these are all of these arguably with like the exception of maybe Celesteela. And maybe like Como.
I don't know if I can read it.
Yeah, Celesteela, Como, and like maybe Incineroar all didn't necessarily deserve this, but the winner is Mew.
Yeah.
I think Giratina, Blastoise, Mew, or Stakataka all could have gotten this, or Melega Alakazam could have all gotten this, and there wouldn't have been too much fuss.
Was the wild card, dude. Is it gonna do anything?
Is it gonna do anything? Nope, not here. Mew, I mean, really, really missed opportunities with Mew having it be able to do anything, and then just having it be set up every game.
Yeah, I mean, we went over it when we were talking about it.
Yeah, we don't need to go over that again, but those are the winners. Honestly, Ko taking these by a landslide.
Yeah, Ko took most of them.
Yeah, Ko might be fan favorite this season. It seems like Ko is definitely the fan favorite team here. But that's going to be it for us. We coming in next week, we've got a match between Chimichangle and Ko in quarterfinals, as well as Meteor Bower and Eggpling for quarters to move and fight the first seed players of both divisions. Click here in the middle to subscribe. fuck. Shit. How do I do this?
I guess.
Quarters or somewhere. Maybe I'll just do fucking click up high to subscribe and click down low for the semis.
Yeah, that works.
Alright, so that's how we're doing it. So I love you, and I really hope you guys enjoyed the season. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fresh faces this time. Really, really happy with how everyone did. And hey, if you stuck around this long in the video, I trust you're going to be sticking around a little bit longer after finals. We've got a surprise for you guys, so stick around. It might be a while until Season 4 happens, but we've got something to keep you guys entertained in the meantime. We'll see you guys then in the quarterfinals next week. Bye-bye.
See ya.